Definitely a cool, dreary day out. I don't think it's supposed to get any higher than 70 degrees. Might rain. Right now it's just kind of misting, but other than that, we're gonna go somewhere pretty nice today. Hey everybody, it's Mark the Lost Traveler, and we're ready to travel. Well, I'm in Manassas, Virginia, and we're gonna catch the VRE train to Clifton, Virginia, to the annual Fall Festival. And the VRE only stops there in Clifton during this time of year for the festival. Otherwise, it would not stop there. So there's a lot of people on the platform. Train should be here in a few minutes, so let's hop aboard. Morning. I think we'll stop right here.
Watch your step. A little slick, watch your step.
Thank you. Well, after you get off the train there, because the train ride was free to get here, but it's $5 to go back to Manassas, so we got ours right as we got off the train. Make it easier. Of course, they would drop you off right by all the food, colonial kettle corn. Lions Club over here, cooking up some sausage. We got funnel cakes over here. They're not ready yet. Clifton was established back in 1868. So there's a lot of historical buildings here. There's signs out in front of each building on what they were. Here, I've eaten at this place a few times. This has got really good food here. This here is the Clifton Hotel, built by Harris G. Oates, a popular resort back in the last quarter of the 19th century, offering health mineral water from the Paradise Springs and the finest in Southern cuisine. Presidents Arthur, Grant, Hayes, and Roosevelt all stayed here, which were some of the notables. And back in the day, out of Washington, Philadelphia, and New York, they arrived here by 17 daily trains to enjoy the escape of the city.
How much are the bathroom?
The boxes are 40.
This is the Pink House. The house was built back in 1905 by the Amber family, who maintained a farm outside the town where they grew various crops. In the 1960s, a business located here painted the building pink, and it has now been known by locals ever since as the Pink House. Of course, it's not pink anymore, it's yellow. Walk across the tracks here to the other side. There's a whole bunch of tents over there. This is the Clifton General Store, built back in the 1930s. Used to be a gas station also, as you can see there from the old Texaco station. Of course, the pumps have been replaced by benches where you can sit out here and eat. Well, when they're not having a fair down here, you can come down here to Clifton to the Wine Addict. And I guess that's Villaggio. That's an Italian place. And then there's also a walk-up where you can get some Italian food also. And then the Clifton Cafe with coffee, crepes, and food and drink over there. Well, over here you can get your Italian on. They got all kinds of stuff over here. Wine, hot sauces, and of course all your Italian foods over here, sandwiches to pizzas. Oh, this is really good chocolate. The chocolate sauce, the best of everything. And it tasted really good. Well, in 30 minutes you can come join us for Sunday worship service at 10:30. Let's go take a look inside.
And we
Sorry, repeat that. When was this church?
1810.
When it was built?
Well, that's when the church started,
Uh-huh.
and the church really started before that, but they don't know what happened to the building. They think it burned down, but then this one was started in 1810 and was finished in 1812, and It's been a joy to try to maintain with that age.
Very nice. This is the Harris House back in 1830, built by the Harris family and later acquired by Thomas More of Williamsburg. It is one of the two oldest houses in Clifton. It is the original in all detail and contains a sick room with its outside entrance that was so common during that period. These are pretty cool stocking hats here. All kinds, Spider-Man, Mario Brothers, Yoda, Star Wars. This is the Buckley House, built back in 1896. Robert R. Buckley was the first mayor of Clifton and the owner of Buckley Brothers General Store, which is now Heart and Hand Restaurant. Built this house as a wedding present for his bride, Anna Bess Detweiler. Sleepless in Seattle and screenplay by Jeff Arch was written while he resided here back in the early 1990s. The Clifton Primitive Baptist Church was built in 1871 as the Clifton Old School Primitive Baptist Church. It is the oldest African American church in Fairfax County. The town of Clifton was initially inhabited by emancipated slaves, and the church was built on the land donated by one of them. This is the Kinchlow House back in 1900. Hustler George Kinchlow worked the area until the end of Prohibition. His wife, Aunt Enzy, I hope I pronounced that right, then opened the house to boarders. 5-cent buckets of beer were delivered every Friday night to the thirsty school teachers residing here. Later, the left front parlor was an unlicensed watering hole for discreet customers. This is like the kids area over here. There's a petting zoo and stuff for the kids to do. Little jumper, swings, train you can walk through, basketball court. There's a clown over there with bubbles making balloon animals. This was Mayhew Tavern back in 1870. F.G. Gusty Mayhew operated a genteel and orderly bar from this house in the early 1900s. Originally a one-room and facing the railroad tracks on Ford Lane, it was expanded in 1876 and moved to its present site here in 1970, and it was also restored back in 1970. This is the Fulmer House, built in 1910 by Clifton lumber merchant J.M. Fulmer, two-time mayor of Clifton, 1920 to 1924 and 1930 to 1936. Fulmer was known as the town strongman. This house is an excellent example of the carpenter of Gothic architectural style type of the period. This house was completely restored back in 1972. Oh, yum. Empanadas. Come over here and get a free family photo. We're off the main street onto a side street now. Pretty much the same thing no matter where you go. Everybody seems to have the same type of merchant. Clothes, jewelry, candles, hats. I'm sure it's like that all over the country. All these fairs are basically the same type of merchandise. Still fun to come to. Wow, look at all this stuff. And the sun is making an appearance today. It was supposed to rain, but I guess not now. And the purple bus. All done by tile. They're pretty cool. And over here you got the hair garage. One thing I like about these festivals, they definitely have a lot of food. The Clifton Town Hall here. Beer and wine, $5. Water, $1. And if you don't have that money, just walk across the street over here to the ATM. This is the Bradley House back in 1870, owned by Reverend William Bradley and his wife Elizabeth, the first Presbyterian minister in Clifton, the parents of Margaret Revere Hazel, who taught the first school in Clifton, and this was restored back in 1981. I don't know if you noticed, but all these houses that were rebuilt and we've been looking at, are lived in by residents here. These aren't abandoned homes. They are actually lived in, and this is really cool. So what Civil War era are we looking at here?
We are representing the early war period, when we are part of the 49th Virginia Infantry, which is the Army of Northern Virginia. And you can see that we're in blues, which during that time in the early war, all of the militia and the units were in blue, just like the Federals. So Battle of First Manassas, there was a lot of confusion because you couldn't tell who was shooting at who because everybody was in blue if you couldn't see the flags. So it wasn't until a year, 2 years into the war that the Confederates moved to a gray or some variation of the butternut uniform so that you could tell the difference.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for that information.
Sure.
This is pretty cool. These old trunks. Those look like toolboxes. I'm not sure if these are cedar or not. Let's take a look inside. Nope. No cedar. Guess these are old toolboxes right here. Old wooden toolboxes. Pretty cool. We got chicken and steak here. Yum. All right, let's climb aboard. And now you got a big crowd coming in. I'm glad we got here early for this thing. Stayed here for about 4 hours. Not too bad. Well, the train's getting ready to pull out. Another big crowd going down there. I'm glad we went early, like I said, down there to the Clifton Fall Festival. And I think that's going to do it. And on that note, Traveler out.